The phone was ringing. I remember that sound, sharp, too real. I opened my eyes. The room was dark. On the nightstand, my phone was vibrating, but the screen wasn't lit. I'd turned it off hours ago. No signal, no light, no reason for it to ring. And yet, it rang. Steady, mechanical, impossible. I sat there, staring at the dead screen, trying to understand how someone could call me on a phone that was turned off. My name is Michael Hall. I was driving east through the Appalachians that night, cutting from Denver toward Roanoke. Rain had been falling for hours. The road was narrow, slick, and empty. Just me, the dashboard glow, and the yellow line sliding under the hood. Around midnight, my eyes started closing. Then, through the fog, I saw it. A flicker of red neon in the trees. Ridgeway Motel, vacancy. The sign buzzed weakly, half the letters dead, but it looked like salvation. Inside, the lobby smelled of old wood and detergent. A woman in a pink cardigan sat behind the counter, pencil in hand, a crossword in front of her. When she looked up, her smile didn't reach her eyes. 119, she said, sliding me the key. Last room tonight. I didn't ask what she meant. The corridor stretched too far for such a small building. Beige carpet, humming lights, air that tasted of dust. Room 119 waited at the very end. It was simple, a double bed, a humming mini fridge, beige curtains drawn tight. Nothing wrong, nothing strange, just another tired roadside room. I dropped my bag, kicked off my shoes, and tried to call my wife. No service, not even a single bar. The phone might as well have been a brick. I left it charging on the table and lay down, promising myself I'd leave at sunrise. The first call came sometime after midnight. The ringtone ripped through the silence. I blinked at the screen. Unknown number. I answered. Nothing. No voice, no static, just slow breathing. Hello? A click. The line went dead. I waited, staring at the wall clock. 12:19 a.m. I told myself it was a glitch, or maybe a wrong number that slipped through the storm. Still, when it rang again 10 minutes later, the same number, the same silence, my chest tightened. I reached for the old landline on the nightstand. Dead. No tone. No hum. I tried dialing the front desk. Nothing. Frustrated, I pressed and held the power button on my phone until the screen faded to black. No light, no signal, no sound. I left it on the nightstand and turned on my side. Rain whispered against the window. The fridge hummed. I drifted off. When I woke again, the room was pitch dark, and the phone was ringing. The same tone, the same vibration, but the screen was still dark, the phone still off. I stared at it as it shook on the table, the sound echoing inside the small room. My mouth went dry. I reached out, hesitated, then picked it up. The ringing stopped instantly. The clock on the wall showed 12:41 a.m. For a few seconds, everything was silent. And then, from somewhere inside the phone, came a faint click, as if someone on the other end had just hung up. For a long time, I just sat there, phone in hand, heartbeat steady, too loud in the silence. I told myself it was nothing, a glitch. Maybe the battery wasn't really dead. Maybe I'd imagined turning it off. I pressed the power button. The screen stayed black. Then, slowly, a faint reflection appeared. My own face, pale and grainy in the glass. I set it down and stood up. The hallway outside was dim, lit by a single buzzing bulb. My footsteps sounded wrong, too sharp, too loud, as if the carpet wasn't there anymore. At the far end, the red exit sign flickered weakly above the glass door. I went toward it. The door didn't move. I pulled the handle again, locked. No, not locked. It just wouldn't move at all, like it was part of the wall itself. I leaned in, Through the glass, I could see nothing but darkness. No parking lot, no car, no sign. Just a flat, black surface, like paint. The front desk sat in shadow. No sign of the woman from last night. The crossword book was still open, pencil lying where she'd left it. Beside it, an old rotary phone. I lifted the receiver. No tone, no hum, just silence so thick it felt physical. The computer behind the counter was off, coated in dust. I pressed the power button out of habit. Nothing. The guest log sat open, one page curled from age. Only one name written there. Michael Hall. A chill ran down my arms. I looked around. Every key was still hanging on the wall rack behind the desk, all except mine. I called out, "Hello? Anyone here?" My voice echoed too long for a room that small, then died completely. I walked the corridor again. Doors lined both sides, 113, 115, 117, all closed. When I tried one, the handle didn't budge. It wasn't locked. It just didn't move. Back at my own door, I stood for a moment, listening. Nothing but the hum of the light above. Then the phone rang again. The sound came from inside my room. I froze. Every instinct told me not to go in. But the ringing wouldn't stop. It wasn't loud, just steady, patient, almost polite. When I finally opened the door, the phone lay on the table, screen still dark, vibrating against the wood. I picked it up. For a heartbeat, nothing. Then a faint sound, a breath. Close to the mic, and a soft metallic click, like someone setting a receiver back in its cradle. The line went silent. I lowered the phone slowly. The air in the room felt heavier, warmer. I moved to the window, pulled the curtain aside. Behind the glass, bricks, tightly packed, gray, rough, not fresh, not new, like they'd been there for years. I stepped back. My phone vibrated once more, buzzing faintly in my hand, though the screen still showed nothing. And somewhere behind the walls, I thought I heard another phone ringing. The phone was silent now. Face down on the table, its dark glass caught the faint light from the lamp. I stood there, unsure what to do next. Sleep was impossible. Every sound felt too close. The hum of the fridge, the creak of the ceiling, my own heartbeat. I moved toward the nightstand. The drawer slid open with a dry wooden groan. Inside, a folded newspaper. Old, the paper yellowed, soft at the edges. The headline read, "Man found dead in Ridgeway Motel, room 119. The date, March 7th, same as tonight. Only the year, 1974. I read the article, my eyes fixed on the final line. Time of death estimated at 3:17 a.m., circumstances unknown. My breath caught. The letters blurred, as if the ink refused to dry even after decades. I glanced at the wall clock above the TV. 3:06. My hands trembled as I folded the paper back. Same date, same room, same time. Then, the phone rang. It was still off. No light, no display, just the familiar ringtone echoing through the room. I froze. The sound was ordinary. But in this silence, it felt alive. Against my better judgment, I picked it up. At first, nothing. Then a voice, low, unearthly, too deep to be real.
"Michael,
It scraped through the speaker like metal on glass.
he will come for you at 3:17 a.m.
I dropped the phone. It hit the carpet and went silent. The air grew heavier. A faint hum pressed against my ears. I turned toward the window, bricks behind the glass, unmoving, pale under the lamplight. "Stop," I whispered. "Please." Nothing. Only the steady tick, tick, tick from the wall clock. 3:16. Time didn't move. It waited. Every second stretched too long, each tick sharper than the last. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at those thin black hands. Then, they shifted. 3:17. The light flickered. The door handle turned slowly. The The door to room 119 opened without a sound. I never saw who, or what, stood there. Only a breath. Deep, patient, close. And then, nothing. Next morning, the first sun touched the wet asphalt outside Ridgeway Motel. The world was still. A maid knocked twice on the door of room 119. No answer. She unlocked it. The air inside was stale, heavy with quiet. The lamp still on. The phone on the table, dark and cold. Above the TV, the wall clock, its hands frozen at 3:17 a.m. The bed was made, except for the man lying across it, motionless, eyes half open, face pale in the dusty light. She gasped, stepping back toward the hallway. Downstairs, in the registration book, pages were filled with names. But the last entry read, Michael Hall, room 119.